too many common themes for me to ever believe that it was genetic. You know, and my own story of overcoming homosexuality is one of just thousands, literally, of people who have come out of homosexuality. But there are people who attempt this journey and who don't make it, who fall away, who either give up, who just say it's too hard. And, you know, because there are some who, for whatever reason, stop on their journey, doesn't negate or invalidate the other people who have made it out of homosexuality. For example, people who said, well, I tried to give up smoking, but it didn't work for me, so it's really not possible to give up smoking. You know, we would find that idea ludicrous, because there are people who have given up smoking. The gay activist community wants tolerance. They want their ideas and their views to be tolerated. But for whatever reason, they can't tolerate anything else except their viewpoint. They can't tolerate a story like mine that says, you know, I used to be gay, but with the help of Jesus, I've been able to overcome that. Why doesn't the tolerance work both ways?
I believe the caricature that's painted of Christians as being mean and hateful, it creates a context where violence is being perpetrated against Christians. I looked, just a very cursory look online, and in the last 3 years, I found 10 instances of church shootings. That doesn't get reported, where Christians are being shot in church. Christians in San Francisco are living in intimidation. For instance, just recently, gay activists crashed a Roman Catholic worship service, desecrated the Eucharist, and mockingly made fun of the faith there, videotaped the whole thing to broadcast it, clearly sacrilege. And the Roman Catholic Church there did nothing, I believe, because of intimidation. What you don't know is immediately after that, in that same week, a man was arrested for trying to set fire to a nunnery where there were 7 nuns asleep in that building. And it's an incredible context of intimidation. And unfortunately, if that can happen in one city and Christians' rights to worship freely are abridged, that can be exported everywhere.
The setting for that action was, of course, the Folsom Street Festival. Talk to us about that.
Well, yes. The Folsom Street Fair, which is nothing more than a sadomasochistic, perverted event that's literally on the streets of San Francisco, took one of our sacred images, the picture of the Last Supper, and desecrated that by dressing up in leather outfits and putting very obscene sex toys on the table. And it was just kind of an in-your-face picture directed at Christians. And the bishop of the Catholic Church spoke up and said, this really isn't appropriate. So for his actions, these radical gay activists, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, crashed this worship service to send a message that you cannot even criticize homosexuals when they're acting out, even in the most outrageous fashion.
Beautiful Fort Lauderdale in Broward County, Florida, now has the distinction of being #1 in the nation in the spread of HIV/AIDS through male homosexual activity. But when Mayor Jim Naugle attempted to curb the spread of sexually transmitted diseases, he found himself at ground zero in the culture war.
The media is trying to portray me as being a homophobe and guilty of hate speech and an intolerant person. Even though my personal belief is that I don't approve of the lifestyle, I try not to judge people and carry out the duties of being mayor in a way that is based on law and public health.
The mayor angered homosexual activists by announcing that the city would crack down on illegal sexual encounters taking place in public places, such as men's rooms at local parks.
There are websites out there that have 19 pages of places where men can have sex with men and meeting up in public restrooms and other public parks and the like. And it's something that I want to try to eliminate it.
Anonymous sex is one very dangerous public health activity. And especially when you're talking about, the CDC designated category, MSN, men who are having sex with men. Their health risk of anonymous sex are even higher than the average person because they are limited to practicing sodomy.
In late 2007, Mayor Noggle called a press conference to issue an apology.
Well, Mayor Noggle did apologize at the press conference, but he did not apologize to the homosexuals. He apologized to the citizens and for not actually trying to stop this in advance.
That press conference prompted new protests.
I'm asking the Broward County Commissioners to pass a resolution to censor Mayor James Noggle.
Dr. John Diggs came from Massachusetts to support Mayor Noggle's public health measures.
But it should be clearly seen that even today, in 2007, that homosexual acts have a key role to say in the spread of all sexually transmitted diseases, especially HIV and AIDS. I think when you look at mayors that are around the country, you should be very proud of Mayor Noggle because he does something that's, number one, courageous, and number two, puts the health of his citizens at the highest level of priority.
But a heckler tried to disrupt the press conference.
What you people are doing is completely wrong.
After the press conference, the media paid more attention to the heckler than to the medical expert who had flown from New England to attend the press conference. The media interviewed the heckler, who turned out to be an AIDS activist.
The media is playing a big role in this controversy, and I think the media is guilty of censorship because a lot of the points that we are making in this battle are being ignored by the mainstream media.
Similar acts are happening in towns and countries, towns and cities across the country where public health officials are not standing up. The executive, the mayors are not standing up and saying this needs to stop because it's imperiling the health of the public. So I have to applaud Mayor Noggle for doing that.
I feel I have the strong support of a majority of the residents here in Fort Lauderdale, and it really doesn't matter, you know, how I'm attacked. Because of my strong beliefs, I feel that I will continue to advocate the position that is right and that is moral and that is in the interest of lawfulness and public safety. So whatever the consequences, so be it.
Many people think that allowing for same-sex marriage doesn't affect you. In fact, that's one of the main arguments. It only is a privilege for that couple. It doesn't affect anyone else. But we've already seen that, in fact, it does affect other people, particularly parents who want to raise their children with moral beliefs and with the understanding that marriage is between one man and one woman.
I'm concerned about same-sex marriage for a host of reasons, but I think the chief one that motivates me is this, that when government prescribes a wholesale redefinition of the family, it knowingly sets a policy that knowingly deprives children